What's up, people, and welcome to a Wheezy Pillar Reviews How Awful Kamala Harris has done on Fox News. I mean, I can't think of a better title. This is the second attempt on this video, right? Because the first video that I made was not good. In fact, there were loads of audio issues, and me trying to fix it just screwed it up even more. So I'm going to redo this from scratch. I'm going to force myself to sit through 26 minutes of Kamala Harris for you people again. Because it is bad. It's so bad. It's really, really, really bad. It's a train wreck. And don't listen to all these people that are like, "Oh no, she did fantastic. She did great. It was amazing. It was Kamala, she's so brat. She did so good." No. They're lying. Or they're getting paid, because nobody can watch this interview where she doesn't answer a single fucking question and say that she did well. I'm sorry. I would say the same thing if Trump were in that position. And yeah, it would explain why Poly Market is currently 60-40 in Trump's favor, because that interview did zero favors for her campaign. None. Nothing. All she did was sit there and blame Trump for a solid 26 minutes for everything falling short of a meteorite striking the earth. And I'm going to watch it again. We're going to sit through this. And I'm going to try and maintain the same energy that I had yesterday, which I might actually have more energy today than I did. All I know is and I'm not being disingenuous when I say that. I understand why people don't like Trump. I don't even really like Trump. But when you see an interview like this, and if you actually sit and pay attention, you realize that she doesn't have a plan for the next 4 years. She's already been in office for 3.5 as vice president. If we get 4 more years, they're just gonna do what they've been doing. That's it. So we're gonna get back into this again. I'm gonna get back into this again, and for some of y'all this might be the first time, but we're gonna sit through the whole thing. So here we go. Okay.
Madam Vice President, thank you for the time.
Thank you. It's good to be with you, Brad.
You know, voters...
And I am going to be pausing a lot, because you have to, whenever you do a reaction video, you have to pause and you have to give your thoughts. So you can have zero interruptions and not have to listen to somebody spouting their opinions. Sort of defeats the purpose. So, fair warning. You don't like reactions. You don't want someone talking over the video. Don't watch this one, mine. Go watch this one. All right? We're just going to get that out of the way.
Voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries.
One of the key issues. One. And speaking for myself, I can list out those issues. I've been saying the same thing for the last 3.5 years. Immigration, specifically illegal immigration. Number 2 is the economy. Number 3 is sort of part of the economy. I guess it is. Inflation, right? Number 4, we've got soft on crime policies. You know, catch and release for all the criminals. It doesn't matter if they're illegal or not. Let's see, what's number 5? 5? Yeah, we're on 5. So number 5, we got the wars. The wars happening in the Middle East. Wars happening in Europe. Let's see. Yeah, those are the 5 major ones, I would say. Immigration is probably at the top of that list, because I've been screaming about how bad the border is for the last 4 years, even before the news picked it up. You know, it only became news whenever they started shipping all these people off to Democrat-ran cities like New York and Chicago, while border states have been dealing with this forever. And now all of a sudden it's a problem, right? So for 3.5 years, or you know what, I'm going to be generous. For 3 years, it wasn't a problem until it became a problem for them.
How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
She's not going to answer that.
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration,
here we
because
go.
I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And
what the fuck kind of answer is that?
Yeah, but
right
do you
now,
just a
which
number? Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett,
She's
let's
not
just
gonna
get to
answer
the
that.
point. Okay, the point
makes
is
her look bad.
that we have a broken immigration system that
You
needs to
caused
be
it.
repaired.
It's your fault. You want to fix the thing that you broke. You broke it. Biden broke it. When Biden was campaigning, what did Biden say? I want everybody to surge the border. And that's what they got. That's what we got. And these are the consequences of that thing. So when she sits here and says, oh, we need to fix this thing. Yeah, but you're part of the administration that fucked it up in the first place. And you see this coming from her sycophants and her campaign of them trying to like distance her from the Biden administration when she's the vice president. She's in office right now as the vice president, but they like to pretend, oh, well, you know, this is a problem and we're trying to fix it. We've been trying to fix it. You know, this thing needs to be fixed and we are very concerned about it. Motherfucker, you've been in office. You could have done something about it on day one. Day one. And they always talk about that too. Oh, on her first day as president. Do something now. You're in there with Biden. Biden's probably sitting on the beach somewhere. And what is she doing? She's campaigning, pretending that she's not a part of the administration.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of
And the Border
apprehensions,
Patrol fucking hates them.
We have
it's a
an
rough
immigration
estimate of
system
6 million people
that
have been
needs to be-
released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question, I promise you.
She's
not going to answer it anyway.
And when you came into office, your
sit
administration
there and
immediately
filibuster.
reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So
when all of this first started, right? You had all these people going, oh no, it's families, it's women and children, you know, that are coming over. I went and found a live stream from like the day before, and it was nothing but military age males. Hispanic, Black, Middle Eastern, Asian. These people were just walking over. And they keep, especially people like AOC. AOC loves to focus on the kids. I think I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 streams, live streams from the border, where there was a mixture of, you know, families and kids and stuff like that. But outside of that, especially these streams that were happening at like midnight, right? It was just dudes. Dudes my age, early 20s, you know, that's all it was. I think on one I counted 50 guys and there was one woman with them. And this was like an 11 o'clock at night live stream of somebody that was at the border. If you don't believe me, go look up Anthony Oweto on YouTube. I'm pretty sure his VODs are still up. A lot of his videos are up, I think. But he was the main one back in the day that was at the border like every weekend, just recording all these people walking over before the feds even showed up. And even then, and I love how they like to say, oh, well, we were trying to fix it. We want to fix it. The feds were letting them cross. The Border Patrol putting up razor wire and all kinds of shit to keep these people from coming over. The feds were moving the razor wire to let them through. The feds, not the Border Patrol. And you wonder why the Border Patrol union is going, we don't endorse Biden. We damn sure don't endorse Kamala. Why would they? The U.S. government was actively interfering with their job, which is to catch illegal immigrants and send them back. Meanwhile, these people were being bussed off to God knows where, you know, with the assistance of some of these NGOs, like the Catholic Charities, I think is one of the major ones that's, especially in Texas or New Mexico, one of those states, that was just gathering up all these people and throwing them on buses to wherever they want to go.
Looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your
Mexico doesn't want them either.
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before
that bill never even hit the table.
We worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the CHIPS and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the... Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please?
You
have to let me finish.
She brings it up like it was something. It didn't even happen.
And they didn't bring up that bill.
I'm responding to the point you're raising, and I'd like to finish.
I would like to finish. Okay.
We recognized from day one
I would like a bill like that.
To the point of this being your first question, it is a priority
it should have
for
been
us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem.
That you caused.
From day one, then.
Your problem. Your problem. It's a priority. It should have been a priority to begin with. From the very beginning. And it wasn't. It wasn't a problem until it was a problem for them, for their optics.
A number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting...
Okay. I'm trying to calm down, and I'm going to explain this rationally. They like talking about asylum, political asylum, right? And usually when someone is seeking asylum from somewhere, it's because they're fleeing oppression, or they're fleeing, you know, a collapsing economy, or this, that, and the other. Any number of circumstances that would make you want to run the fuck away from your country of birth, right? But a lot of these people are coming from overseas and passing through South America, up through the Darien Gap, all the way up into Central America until they hit the US, right? They could have stopped in any number of those countries, any one of them. And you see videos of Mexicans helping these people that are on the train and that's going north to the border, and they're just throwing them supplies and shit. It's because the Mexicans don't want them either. And these people don't want to go anywhere else. They want to be here. And there's a reason for that. If you find out, right? I call my cousin in fucking Brazil or somewhere, right? And be like, hey, if you walk over the border, they're going to give you $1,000 and a phone, and they're going to ship you wherever you want to go, and you won't even get arrested. What do you think's going to happen? You think these people don't communicate? They won't. Democrats like to pretend like these illegals are from the Stone Age or some shit and don't know how to use a phone. I guarantee them motherfuckers told everybody, their whole entire family, their friends, their uncles, their fucking second cousins. They communicate. That's why you were seeing this massive influx of people, right? And don't get me wrong, I get it. I would do it too. You know, spending money, we'll give you a phone. You bet your ass I'm going to Canada. Shit, yeah, let's go. Give me all the free shit. I'll come back later. You know? Like, why do they like to pretend that this problem isn't a problem of their own making? It boggles my mind, and Democrat voters will defend this shit to the death, even though it's right there in fucking front of them.
More judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry
arrest
between
them and deport them. That's how
points.
You deal with it.
That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress.
That bill sucked.
To actually strengthen
What was
the
it,
border.
HR 22?
That border bill would have put
That border
1,500 more
sucked.
border agents at the border, which is why.
And for those of you that don't know, you can go look it up. I guarantee you, if you read that thing, there is all kinds of shit in there that didn't have anything to do with the border at all, whatsoever. Nothing. In fact, it involves sending billions overseas to Ukraine. It was a bad bill. And they like bringing it up because nobody fucking takes the time to go and read about it. It was a really bad bill. It was a shitty bill. And the border fixes that they like to pretend was going to be in this bill weren't even fixes. They were, oh, well, we're only going to let a certain number of illegals walk over every day. So, right, we're going to let 1 million people come over on Monday, and then we're going to stop them, and then another 1 million are going to come over on Tuesday, and then another 1 million on Wednesday, and so on and so forth. It didn't solve anything. And she talks about, oh, we're going to add more Border Patrol units. They won't even let the Border Patrol people do their job. Look up Eagle Pass. The Border Patrol was fighting with the fucking feds. Until finally, they gave up and were like, all right, Texas, you can do whatever you want.
I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General.
I was an Attorney General. I was a prosecutor. I did this. Go back to doing that.
Trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
6 Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and
because
told
it was a bad
them
bill.
To kill it.
It was a bad bill.
Because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing
a problem.
Bill. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion
we need to fix this problem that we started.
And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you.
but actually is focused on fixing it.
6 Democrats voted against that bill.
Now
it would
it's a
have allowed
problem.
1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats. But more importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungary, Rachel Morin.
Jocelyn Nungary, that happened here in Houston. In fact, before it reached the mainstream media and it was on the local news, nobody wanted to talk about who did it, right? They just said, oh, it was 2 men. And then it came out that these 2 men were 2 illegal Venezuelans, males, that had been caught several times before. I think it was more than once that these guys have been caught and let go. And what did they do? This little girl snuck out at night. She's a teenager. She went to the corner store. These 2 dudes saw her. They followed her, or she went with them. I think they followed her. And they killed her. They killed her, and they sexually assaulted her, and they left her body under a fucking bridge. And the funny thing is that when this came out and it started becoming, news for everybody else that's not local, is that there were Democrats trying to blame everything except the 2 illegal immigrants that killed her. Oh, well, why was she out at night? Oh, well, where were the parents? Oh, well, obviously it's the parents' fault for letting this little girl sneak out. Oh, well, the little girl should have known better that she's not safe on the street. She should expect to be strangled and assaulted by illegals. It's her fault. I shit you not. These people were saying shit like that instead of focusing on the actual problem. And yeah, now her mom is fucking supporting Trump, and I don't blame her because she's not the only one. She's not the only person this has happened to. Crime has skyrocketed, and I guarantee if Trump wins and these motherfuckers are out of office, I guarantee you those real numbers are going to come out, and the crime statistics are going to be way worse than what they're reporting right now. Bet money. You can quote me. I will put, I don't know, we'll put $10 on it, right? We'll go big. $10. That those statistics are going to be way worse than they're reporting because they don't want to make them look bad. They're not telling the truth. So they're fudging the numbers and going, it's okay. It's all right. No. Look at places like Chicago. Chicago already had a problem with crime. Now you toss in a whole bunch of illegal immigrants with nowhere to go and no jobs and nothing to do. What do you think is going to happen? Same thing with New York. Same thing with all these other cities that are dealing with this problem. It's just a fact. There is cause and effect. As much as people like to pretend that's not a thing, it is a thing.
Laken Riley. They are young women.
There's another one.
Who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would.
Okay, hold on. You could see that little mouth twitch. Hold on. I didn't notice that the first time that I saw this. Let's go back right here. Watch her mouth.
So if it wouldn't have happened, Laken Riley probably.
You saw it right there. Her little, oh yeah, oops, type of whatever. I don't know what to call that. I didn't notice that the first time because I really wasn't paying much attention to her facial features or her emotions, except for when she actually goes off the deep end during this interview, which we'll get to that. But for those of you that don't know, Bill Clinton is out there campaigning for her. So is Obama. And these two dudes are royally pissing people off, especially Obama, trying to say that, oh, if Kamala doesn't win, it's because black men didn't vote and it's their fault. Like trying to shame black men into voting for her. And if she loses, it's your fault. I hope you know that, black men. Obama said it. But Clinton was out there and he was like, well, if we knew who these guys were, she wouldn't have died. You know, if they were properly vetted, then none of this would have happened. How is that a positive? Trump's not in office right now. She didn't die under Trump's term. She died under their term. Like, why would he even say that? And I don't know if these two dudes are trying to sabotage her campaign or what, but it's working.
Would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There is no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced.
I know she's wearing the same earrings that everybody said were a listening device.
So that is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure that no future harm would occur.
Not my fault, it's Trump's fault.
This election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election. Because
what does that even mean? Why would she say that? It is a political advantage to her to fix it because it's a problem that she caused, that Biden caused. Trump has to come in and clean up the fucking mess. Why the fuck would she say that? Because she likes to make it seem like, oh, if I'm in office, then yeah, we're going to fix the problem. And I know I've already said this multiple times. It's a problem of their own making. So yeah, I'm going to vote for the guy that might actually fix it and not fix it now because it makes me look bad, which is exactly what she's saying and what she's doing.
There was a solution, Brett.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration.
Yeah,
I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungare's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's
true.
the early days. So do you owe them an apology is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I'm so sorry for her loss.
It's your fault.
Sincerely.
It's Biden's fault.
But let's talk about what is happening right now
Oh
with
my God.
an individual
Yep,
who
see,
does
Trump's
not want
fault.
to participate
It's Trump's
in
fault. This girl
solutions.
died. It's Trump's fault
Let's
that they
talk
let this
about
illegal
that
immigrant
as
in
well.
that killed this little girl.
In all fairness,
It's
I
Trump's
told
fault.
you, I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the
Zero
border was
accountability.
secure.
Zero.
When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
And
We've had it broken.
I like how Democrats like to pretend that she had zero say with any of the policies that Biden has enacted, when that is a flat out lie. It's a lie. She had say. She had pull. She was called what? Sipping a mojito, catching some rays. Who do you think's running things? Go ahead. You can answer the question. Who do you think is running the country when Biden's on vacation?
Broken immigration system, transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration, even before.
Yeah, we've always had
Let's all
illegal
be honest
immigration
about
problem.
that.
It was
I have
never
no
this
pride
bad.
in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. We need more. I was just down at the border talking with border agents.
She was down at the border for
and
like
they will
30
tell you,
minutes.
and I'm sure you probably, I
And
know
they
you
don't like you.
investigate and you are a serious journalist. They will tell you, we need more judges. We need to process those cases faster.
Texas
we
has
need the
been
support
trying to do
for those
this
cases that
with
should
the
be
government
prosecuted.
fucking blocking them every step
They
of the way.
need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that's going to get fixed, Brett.
Well,
that's how this system
That's
works.
not my
that's the
fault.
premise of
That's
this question.
Congress's
There were
fault.
That's how the
90
system
plus
works.
executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to talk about, but you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill.
They
and
don't
did.
like you. They don't
supported
like
it.
you. They don't
But they
like
also
you.
just endorsed Donald Trump and said you've been, quote, a failure with border security.
Yeah.
Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated.
With
and
you.
I get it.
With Biden.
They want support.
From
they
you.
want support,
From
and that's
Biden.
what that border security bill would have done. These guys
my
down at
God.
the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock. I get it.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support?
Do you know why these people, these liberals, support immigration like this? Why they want all these people here? Cheap labor. Cheap labor. And they've admitted it many, many times that that's what they look at it as. Number one, these people are more votes for the Democrats that let them in. Number two, it's cheap labor. They can completely eradicate Americans that are trying to get a decent paying wage and replace them with illegal immigrants that they can turn into citizens with the wave of a pen, and all of a sudden these people are American citizen, able to vote, able to get a job. And who do you think that's going to affect? It's not going to affect me. Unless, in fact, the only people it's going to affect are going to be the middle class and the lower class. I'm not saying that I'm not middle class. What I'm saying is that my job is specialized, right? I'm an IT manager. But these people are going to take all the low-paying jobs that Americans need to get by. And I'm not demeaning anybody that has a low-paying job. If you're working, you're paying taxes. I don't care what job you're doing. I pay out the ass in taxes. I can tell you that. But that's what's going to happen. In fact, they did a segment the other day where they're talking, I think it was Geraldo Rivera that said, oh, well, you realize that a lot of these home building companies use migrants to build their houses. What if we don't have these migrants, then who's going to build the houses? Yeah, there's a reason they're doing that, because they're cutting costs by paying these dudes $3 an hour versus the 10 or 15 or 20 or however much an American citizen would want. That is the crux of this whole thing. That is what they want. It's what they want. They've said it. Multiple people have said it. Same thing with fucking, what was it, Kelly Osbourne saying, well, if we don't have illegal immigrants, then who's going to scrub our toilets? So don't let them fool you that this is all some sort of altruistic game plan when it's not. It's way fucking worse.
What those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement
she hasn't
over and
answered
over
a single
again, and as
question
Vice
yet.
President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed
Don't
those
even
very
get me
things
started
into
on
state
Tim
law.
Walz and his wife. His wife is a
So do you
lunatic.
support that?
We are
That's
very
more than
clear,
enough reason not to
and I am
vote for
very
Kamala.
clear, as is Tim Walz, that we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
But
So
you haven't been.
decriminalizing border crossings, like you said in 2019.
I do not believe in decriminalizing border crossings, and I've not done that as vice president. I will not do that as president.
So these are evolutions that
but-
you've had.
no, But let's be very clear. I'm the only person who's running for president who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations, from the Sinaloa cartel.
There she is.
To the
I was a prosecutor.
Guadalajara
Well, go back to doing
cartel,
that. You're obviously
to
better at
people who have
that
trafficked
than
in
whatever
guns,
it is you're
drugs, and
doing
human
now.
beings. I have spent a significant part of my career going after people who present a threat to the safety of the American people and cross our border with the intent of doing us harm and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as vice president. I take that work quite seriously.
This is a time when voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are inundated with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
That sign behind her literally says transform the White House. But look, all I'm saying is that the Trump campaign, all they have to do is play back her own words. That's it. Just repeat all the shit that she's been saying. That's all they got to do. Just repeat it. Because they like saying, oh, well, Trump is showing you who he is. You need to believe him. They're doing the same exact thing. And that's why I'm not voting for them.
So are you still in support
At least
of
Trump
using
will answer the
taxpayer
question.
dollars
You
to
might
help
not like
prison
how he
inmates
answers
or
the
detained
question,
illegal
but he'll
aliens
answer the
to
question.
Transition to another gender?
I will follow the law.
See? Non-answer.
And it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed. You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis to people in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing, stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition
Well,
surgeries
you know what? You got to
happened
take
during
responsible for what
his
happened in your
presidency.
He did.
administration.
But
Yeah,
see,
no
yep,
surgeries
Trump's
happened
fault.
in his pregnancy.
Trump did it,
Consistent
so
black
it's
and white.
fine.
Would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassignment
I will
surgeries?
follow the law, just as I
Non-answer.
think
Say
Donald
it
Trump would
as-
say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think it's real. He spent $20 million
Yep, there it
on
is.
those ads,
Trump
trying
bad.
to create
Trump bad.
a sense of.
The Democrats have spent way more than that on advertising for this woman. Way more. Leaps and bounds more than Trump spent on that ad. These people are pulling out all the fucking stops to get Kamala elected. They're paying celebrities left and right. They're paying influencers left and right. They're showing ads left and right. They are dumping money on this woman. And I sincerely hope that she loses and they lose fucking all of it. Because it is a boatload of fucking money.
Fear in the voters because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people,
I can't believe I'm sitting through this again.
It's really quite remote. And again, his policy was no different. Look at where we are, though.
They say
on plans for the American people, I'm offering a plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering a plan to deal with what we need to do to strengthen small businesses, which are the backbone.
Nope. The last thing that she put out the other day was, I'm going to give black, specifically black, not anybody else, black entrepreneurs $25,000 for their small businesses. She specifically said black. Why? Because they're losing support from the black community. So what do? They do what they always do. By they, I mean Democrats, where they will sit there and they will focus on the black community and they will pander and they will promise and they will say they're going to do this, that, and the other, and then they don't do it. Black Americans get tossed to the curb once they get what they want, which is the votes. Everything she has said has a catch, or there's, some little comment there that it's not for everybody. It's for whoever they want. And I hope to God, and I know it's happening, that black Americans are starting to wake up and go, wait a minute. These people they're screwing us. We vote for them, nothing changes, nothing gets better. We vote for them, nothing changes, nothing gets better. We vote for them, rinse and repeat. Try something new. I promise it's not going to kill you. Try something new. Don't vote for these people. Again, by these, I mean Democrats. Kick them to the curb, just like they do to you every single election cycle. Now, I'm not saying that Republicans are the second coming of Christ, that Trump is, God himself come down to save all of us. I'm not saying that at all. In fact, I will be thoroughly surprised if things get better. I hope they do. But what I am hoping for is that all these Democrats in positions of power are no longer in those positions, and maybe we can course correct and start getting back to Americans being taken care of. I'm hoping that happens. I genuinely hope that happens, because this affects all of us as Americans. It doesn't matter what fucking color you are. You can be white, brown, black, yellow, pink, blue. I don't give a shit. This is all of us. And I know I've said before, I'm going to vote for whoever the fuck I think is going to benefit me. But when I look at things in terms of this is going to benefit me, that mostly benefits everybody else, right? I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not even a thousandaire anymore under them. It would benefit all of us. And the cat just did something crazy and knocked things down. But that happens every 5 minutes over here. But yeah, stop voting for the same people that are making promises to you and then they don't deliver. Right? Try something new. Just give it a shot. And I say this as someone who is Hispanic. Same thing is happening with Latino Americans, with Hispanic Americans. Because again, the illegal immigration issue affects all of us. The inflation issue affects all of us. Right? The economy affects all of us. The job market, all of us. And these people are in power right now. So why would you vote for them again? Because Orange Man bad, right? And I get it. If you don't like Trump, fine. I don't give a shit if you sit it out. Sit the election out. That's what I've done. Sit it out. Don't vote for them. Don't vote for these people just because you feel like you have to. I would hope that you go out and vote. But these people will make you think that if you do not vote for Kamala in the next election, World War III is going to happen, and it probably might if you do vote for her. It's not the end of the world. It's not. And I'm saying this even if Trump loses. I'm not saying it's the end of the world. Things might get worse. But, you know, we'll try to make it through another 4 years. That's what we do every presidency, right? I do think that this is the most important election that we've had in a long time. In fact, it's going to be the first one that I'm voting in a very long time. I voted last election. No, I didn't vote last election. I didn't think Trump was going to lose the last election, honestly. But that's just me. You know, COVID was happening. People have lost their minds. People are still losing their minds over COVID. And, you know, we are where we are. So.
Of America's economy. I am offering a plan that is about taking care of young parents and giving them the support they need. My plans for the economy will strengthen the economy, as have been reviewed by 16 Nobel laureates, Goldman Sachs, Moody's, and recently the Wall Street Journal, which have all studied our plans and have indicated.
These are all people that have something to lose. All the people that are endorsing her, people like Liz Cheney, people like not McCain, Pence, all the neocons, all these people in big business, right? These are all people endorsing Kamala and saying that she's the greatest thing ever and that her policies are going to be the greatest thing ever and Trump is going to be a disaster because they have something to lose. And it's funny how the Democrat Party has become the party of big business, big tech, big government, right? And that's something that RFK noticed. That's something that Tulsi Gabbard noticed. And they were like, wait a minute. The Democrat Party isn't even the Democrat Party that we joined. So she can sit there and throw out all these names, these celebrities, you know, these billionaires, these neocons, these businessmen. All these people have something to lose. And these people make way more money than the rest of us. And honestly, what they have to lose isn't even near to what your average American has to lose.
My plans for our economy would strengthen our economy. His would make them weaker.
Why do you
would
think more
ignite
people
inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Those are the facts.
Why do you think more people say they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
I think that when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as President of the United States, it has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a way forward, and they want a president who has a...
From Democrats. I have seen the most vitriolic shit come out of fucking Democrats, and I fucking hate how these people sit on their fucking moral high ground, you know, try and pretend that they're better than everybody else and that they give a shit about everybody else. It's all false. It's all fake. I have seen some of the most vile shit come from fucking Democrats over the last 3.5 years. And don't get me wrong, there's crazy people on the right. It would be disingenuous for me to say that, oh no, the right is perfect. No. You got people like fucking Fuentes over there. You've got people like, who else is a crazy fucking right-winger that I can't stand? Which I don't even know if I would call Fuentes a right-winger at this point, because that dude is, yeah, but I don't even want to talk about Groypers. My least favorite class of idiot. What I'm saying is, these people like to pretend that they are better than you, that they are morally superior to you, that they have all the answers, and that you are lower than them, that you are less than them if you want to vote for Trump, that you are a bigot or a racist or a transphobe or any other sort of istophobe, that you're genocidal, that you're this, that. I've seen so many labels, that you're a Nazi. I've seen so many fucking buzzwords and labels tossed around for the last 3.5 years for just normal fucking people coming from the left, from progressives, from Democrats. And that's part of the reason why I'm going to vote straight ticket fucking Republican just to fuck these people. Because they have caused it. All this rhetoric and shit has been coming from Democrats. And if you don't believe me, you can go back and look at fucking compilations of these people saying shit identical to what they're calling out. So don't let them fool you. Don't. I would hope that you guys have more sense to recognize when somebody is shitting on you and telling you not to worry about it. Oh, no, I didn't do that. Yeah, no, it's you. You're the one doing the shitting.
A plan for the future and a plan that is sound and will strengthen our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would be again
Trump
to
bad.
give tax cuts
Trump bad.
to billionaires
Trump bad.
and the
Bad,
biggest
bad,
corporations
bad,
in our country
bad.
and
Orange
blow
man
up
bad.
our
Trump bad.
deficit.
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice
That's all
President.
they
You
got.
were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently
Nothing.
than President
She said
Biden. Here's what you said.
nothing.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during
Believe
the past
her.
4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be, and
Nada.
what would stay the same?
Zilch.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I noticed.
And so that would be one change
Yes.
in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So, you're not Joe Biden, you're not Donald Trump,
I
but
dropped something.
nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear.
I'm
My
not Joe Biden.
presidency will not be a continuation of
Yes,
Joe
it will.
Biden's presidency. Yes, it will. And like every new president that comes in to office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership.
No, you don't.
For example,
she's almost okay.
am someone who
They like to talk about how old Trump is, and I still don't know what fucking fell. I can't find it. It disappeared into the ether. She likes to pretend that she's, this young new generation. She's about to be 60 years old. She is a career politician. She's not some new blood or some shit coming in out of nowhere. She is a career politician. Biden, career politician. And you can look at all these people like Pelosi, like Schumer, fucking, what the fuck is that lady's name? Maxine Waters? Fucking Feinstein died in office. I mean, these people will sit in power because once they get that seat, they do not want to lose it. The gravy train has to continue, and they will stay there until they fucking die. Which is why we need fucking term limits for these geriatric fucks that sit there making decisions for the rest of us because they've been sitting in a chair for 800 years.
who has
So
not
no,
spent
she's
the
not a
majority of
new
my career
generation.
in Washington, D.C. I invite
You're still a
ideas,
politician.
whether it be from the Republicans who are supporting me, were just on stage with me minutes ago, and the business sector,
And fuck them too.
and others who can contribute to the decisions that I make
all
about, for example, my plan for
pawn
increasing
scum,
the supply of housing in America and
fleecing
bringing down
American
the cost
citizens,
of housing.
Republicans and Democrats.
Addressing the issue of small businesses, which is about working with the private sector to bring more capital and access to capital to our small business leaders, including my plan
But only if
for
you're black.
$25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers.
They're just
and
gonna
for
raise the home
small
prices to
businesses, extending the
$25,000.
tax deduction from $5,000
by
to
25.
$50,000.
We've heard a lot about those plans in recent days. Your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page.
From what?
You've been vice president for 3.5 years.
Thank you.
So what are you turning the page from?
Well, first of all, turning the
From
page from
Donald Trump,
the last
bad
decade,
man, bad Trump.
in which we have been
Trump's been in
burdened
office for a decade.
with the kind of rhetoric coming
I'm
from
gonna
Donald
unburden
Trump
you
that
from
has
Trump.
been designed and implemented
That's all
to
they have.
divide our country and have Americans
I already said
literally
it. Trump
point
bad, Trump bad, Trump
fingers
bad,
at
Trump
each
bad,
other.
Trump, 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 Trump,
Rhetoric
Trump, Trump,
and
Trump.
an approach
That's
to
all they
leadership
got.
that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know. The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up.
But you-
The
Oh,
strength of an
please.
American president, which is one who understands that the vast majority of us have more in common than what separates us.
Not
Madam
anymore.
Vice President, more
turning
than
Not anymore. We are more divided now as a country than we have ever been. And I'm saying that even more so than Obama. Their term has been disastrous, has been divisive. If you don't vote for them, they fucking hate you. Their voters hate you. Don't believe me? Go watch the clips of Destiny saying, oh, well, if you're a Trump supporter and you're at a rally, then you deserve to get shot. I don't feel bad for you. Believe them. They hate you. We are divided as a country. And I blame them. They can blame Trump all they want. Their voters can blame Trump for, the Antichrist rising from the sea or some shit. But I blame them. I blame them, and I blame the media that they are backing. I have never had this level of distrust for the mainstream media in my life. I don't trust any of them. And you can always go back and watch my MSNBC video that I did of one of the guys that works on one of the shows on MSNBC saying, yeah, we're brainwashing people and we think they're stupid. Again, believe them. This is why more and more people are turning to the internet, to live streams, to alternative media, as they like to call it, because these people cannot be fucking trusted. They will sit there and tell you that your house isn't on fire when it's burning to ashes. Why? Because it benefits them.
70% of people
that is
tell
about
pollsters,
turning the page on rhetoric that people are frankly exhausted of, Brett.
More than
People are
70% of people
exhausted.
tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
It's his fault.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
Donald Trump has
people
been
have become, but listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me,
in fact,
and certainly...
Your baby was born stillborn? Trump bad. It's his fault. Oh, your roof collapsed? Nope, that was Trump's fault too. That's all they have. And it's getting old. It doesn't fucking work anymore. People are sick of it. She hasn't answered a single fucking question. And when she does answer it, it's Trump's fault. And this is the person that you're going to vote for? Why? She's not offering any solutions. All she's doing is telling you to vote. And she says, oh, they're trying to convince you to vote out of fear. That's exactly what the Democrat Party is doing. They are playing on the fucking Trump derangement syndrome that is contagious and saying, oh, you have to vote for us. This man is they love throwing around threat to democracy while Tim Walz sits over there and says we need to abolish the Electoral College. They love saying all this shit about, oh, he's an existential threat to the country. Whatever the fuck. So again, all this doublespeak of, oh, well, he's playing on fear. That's all they're doing. They are stoking massive amounts of fear in their voter base of Trump. And the media helps them do it. MSNBC repeats talking points from the Democrat Party saying the exact same shit every single day. Joe Scarborough, Rachel Maddow. It's all fear porn for these people.
The Republicans who are on stage with me, the former chief of staff to the president, Donald Trump, former defense secretaries, national security advisor, and his vice president. One, that he is unfit to serve.
Trump bad.
That he is unstable. That he is dangerous. And that people are exhausted with someone who professes to be a leader who spends full time demeaning
now she's getting mad.
and engaging in personal grievances and it being about him instead of the American people. People are tired of that.
If that's the case, why is half the country supporting him? Why is he beating you in a lot of swing states? Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be.
What does that even mean?
It is not supposed to be a cakewalk for anyone.
So are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid? What is it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies,
Trump has said it.
He's the one who tends to
Trump would say that.
And belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within.
He's just saying the quiet part out loud.
An enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American.
He's going to say that that's not true. But the context of that quote has to do with people like Antifa. You know, Antifa is just an idea, right? Even when they were burning down fucking cities during the George Floyd riots, he's talking about the fact that when all this shit was going up in flames and Democrats were blocking him every step of the way from sending in the National Guard, that is what he means. Because that should have never fucking happened. And in fact, the worst of it was in Tim Walz's state. And you expect this dude to be vice president? Get the fuck out of here.
People.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect,
here it comes.
That clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
Well, he was asked about that specific...
No, that's not what you just showed in all fairness and respect to you.
That's the question that we asked him.
You didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going in...
And if you disagree with me, then fuck you. Because there are times, right? If I have a horde of masked up fucking militants in my backyard setting shit on fire and attacking people, those people are criminals. And if my local government doesn't want to do a goddamn thing about it, then I would hope that the president of the United States would be like, all right, this needs to stop. All you people are done. Because that is exactly what happened. These people got away with fucking murder. Of setting shit on fire. Of fucking, I think, God knows how many deaths during the Chaz and the CHOP autonomous zones and all this bullshit that was going on. And he was blocked every step of the way by Democrats. Fortunately, when they tried to riot here, that shit got nipped in the bud real quick. Why? Because Texas is a Republican state. As much as people like to wish it turns blue, not going to happen. Texas is an open carry state. So it's the literal equivalent of fuck around and find out. And all these places where they were getting away with that shit were Democrat-ran cities. Majority Democrat states. And they did not want him to do anything about it. So, yeah, if he says, I'm going to turn the military on people that are acting a fucking fool and causing millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of property damage, I'm all for it.
After people who are engaged in peaceful protest.
No, see, there you go. Peaceful. None of that shit was fucking peaceful.
Because they disagree
now we
with
have
him.
literal
This is
fucking
a democracy.
terrorist supporters running around.
And in a democracy, The President of the United States,
She's
in the
literally
United
shaking.
States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what
we should have. And she can sit there and grind her teeth and look how mad how I am. Look at a peaceful protest. None of that shit was peaceful. None of it. And as much as they want to sit there and gaslight it, I've got many, many, many clips of the George Floyd riots of shit that was going down. Don't believe me? You can check my channel. Some of those videos are still there. They let it happen. She likes to pretend, oh, nothing wasn't that big a deal. Nothing happened. They let it happen. They let it happen.
What is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes. Let me ask you this, Madam Vice President. You called Donald Trump. You called Donald Trump.
Bad. Trump's scary. Trump going to destroy the world.
He's misguided. You say now
he's
unstable.
He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff.
She lied.
When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room, and he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump is. And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years.
She hasn't answered a single fucking question.
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best, including leaders of our national security
This is dog shit.
Have all spoken out. Even people who worked for him in the Oval Office, worked with him in the Situation Room, and have said he is
all
unfit
we've heard is about how bad Donald Trump is,
and
not a single goddamn thing
never be president
about what
of the
her
United
presidency
States
is going to be,
including his former vice president, which is why the job was open for him to choose another running mate. So that is a fact. That is a fact.
Madam Vice President, two more things. You were asked on 60 Minutes about the biggest threat that the world faces, that the U.S. faces. This is what you said.
It's Donald Trump, obviously.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
Donald Trump.
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands, okay? This attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles.
Donald Trump is the one that's the threat.
What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
A number of experts thought you would say China. The FBI director had said that. But you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the #1 threat?
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, and then several hours on each occasion, that Iran posed a threat to Israel.
Cat.
I was there. Most recently in the Situation Room, in the most recent attack, working with the heads of our military and doing what America must always do to defend and to support Israel in its requirement to defend itself, and to give American support to be able to allow Israel to have the resources to defend itself against attack, including from Iran and Iran's terrorist proxies in the region.
Right.
I must ask you a question.
Proxies were getting funded by
my
Iran.
commitment to that is unyielding and unwavering.
critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions.
Let's
in
go back to Donald
profits.
Trump.
Let's go back. It's Trump's
who pulled out of a deal that would have actually put Iran in check.
Trump hasn't been president for
during
3.5
Donald
years.
Trump's
that
administration, that
Iran regime.
That we
they
had
blame
an
Trump
American
for
military
everything.
base
Their
that was
supporters blame
attacked,
Trump for
where
everything. There
American
is zero
soldiers
accountability for
suffered
fucking
traumatic
anything.
brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches. Not to mention how Donald Trump has
all of this money
has treated
that
and
has
talked
gone
about
in the
America's
past few
military
years.
and military service people,
Critics
calling
say
them
that it goes to
suckers and
Hezbollah,
losers,
Hamas,
has diminished
and Houthis.
the significance.
We're talking over each other. I apologize.
I would like that we would have
you're not answering the question. Is what you're not doing.
That is grounded in full assessment of the facts, which includes, I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the subject of Iran, I am offering what should be an important contrast that is presented for folks to make a decision
and there are critics
that they feel
who look at what the administration did and say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're rapping me very hard here.
So when he says they're rapping me, it means that Kamala's aides are over there flagging him down, saying, "No, you need to stop. You need to stop. 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 Stop now. Stop. Go. Nope. No more. No more of this. Excuse me. Stop. 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 Hello. Stop." He said that's what they were doing to him. They realized that this is such a fucking train wreck that they were trying to get him to stop the interview.
I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump.
No,
there are a lot of things.
She's got more.
There are a lot of things that people want to learn about you and your policies, and that's why we invited you
I invite everyone
here.
to go to KamalaHarris.com.
Go to my website. Go to my website to find out about me. I can't tell you. You have to go to my website.
Pages of policies that are quite
my policies
comprehensive.
Are there. I don't know what they are because somebody else wrote them. But go to the
accessible
website.
to anyone who would like to read them, and it includes what I intend to do about affordable housing, what I intend to do about small businesses, what I do.
And that's why we invited you here to see where you were in 2019 and where you are now.
America's military and ensure we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world.
Madam Vice President,
and
they're giving me a hard rap here.
Well, I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What a fucking train wreck. Jesus Christ. And I can't believe I just sat through that again. If this video is screwed up, I am not redoing this. I'm not sitting through this again. Look, Trump is an egotistical asshole. But if you look at this without emotion, if you separate, and I'll even separate my ill feelings towards Kamala for this, the fact of the matter is, the 5 things that I brought up in the beginning, right? The 5 main things that I'm concerned about. We're talking about illegal immigration. We're talking about the economy. We're talking about the job market. We're talking about inflation. We're talking about soft on crime policies. If you look at all of those things and you take away any feelings that you have for either candidate, look at who's in charge right now and who is not. And the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. We need someone different to be in charge. Trump, I think, is balanced out by J.D. Vance. He's got the support of RFK. He's got the support of Tulsi Gabbard. He's got the support of Elon Musk. These are all people I think have the potential to overhaul the American government for the better. Because I can tell you right now that all the Democrats really give a shit about is money and big business and, stifling free speech. Fucking Hillary Clinton just came out not too long ago saying, "Oh, social media is a threat to democracy and we need to crack down on free speech and social media." They're telling you the truth. They're telling you to your face exactly how they feel. And I said it multiple times in this video. Believe them. All these people give a shit about is money, and they don't care if the country and the rest of the world goes up in flames to get it. So, I am going to end this by saying, again, that I think this is the most important election that we will have or have had in a long time. And if you're like me, and times are tough and shit is rough, didn't mean for that to rhyme, then the choice is obvious. And it ain't Kamala. It's just not. I think that her being voted in would be a disaster. I think Tim Walz being vice president would be a disaster. And we need to, course correct the ship somehow. And they're not the ones to do it. This is where we're at. So all I'm going to say is go out and vote. If you don't like either one of them, then stay home. I'm not telling you you have to vote for anybody. But if you feel strongly about this, like I do, then go vote. I'm not doing early voting or mail-in ballots or any of that garbage. I'm going to go the day of, and I'm going to go stand in line, and I'm going to go vote. I hope y'all feel the same way. I've never felt this energized to go vote for a presidential candidate. Ever. And this is one of those times that I think that it actually matters. As much as they love talking about democracy, this is the time where we as the people, and what I feel is probably the majority, need to go out there and do something about this. So, whew, that was painful. Like I said, if this video is messed up, I'm not doing this again, because I don't want to sit through any more of her speeches, of her non-answers, of her word salad, of her orange man bad rhetoric. I just don't. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time, get out there on November 5th and go vote. For the love of God, we need it.